A few days ago, specifically on May 6, 1856, in Austria, the man who convinced all of us, without exception, that the part of ourselves we hide emotionally is often the truest part of who we are was born. Sigmund Freud. Freud considered the unconscious mind to be a vast reservoir of emotions, thoughts, repressed desires, and painful memories that exist outside conscious awareness. Nevertheless, he believed that these hidden elements constitute the primary driving force behind human behavior and personality. Freud famously compared the human mind to an iceberg. The conscious mind represents only the small visible portion above the surface, whereas the unconscious constitutes the much larger hidden mass beneath the water. According to Freud, many irrational or seemingly incomprehensible behaviors emerge from this concealed psychological depth within the unconscious. Socially or morally unacceptable thoughts and desires accumulate through a psychological defense mechanism known as repression. Repression arises when the primitive impulses of the ID come into conflict with the strict moral standards of the superego, placing the ego in a psychologically distressing position. The conflict begins when the ID generates an instinctual desire or impulse, often sexual or aggressive in nature. Such impulses seek immediate gratification without consideration for morality, social norms, or external reality. Once these impulses emerge, the superego evaluates them according to internalized moral principles and societal values. If the desire is deemed unacceptable, the superego responds with rejection and threatens the ego with feelings of guilt. Consequently, the ego finds itself trapped between two opposing forces: the ID, which demands satisfaction, and the superego, which demands restraint and prohibition. This internal conflict generates anxiety, fear of losing control, and fear of punishment. At this critical moment, repression occurs. When the ego becomes incapable of resolving the conflict realistically or satisfying both sides, it resorts to repression as a rapid psychological defense mechanism. Through this process, the ego unconsciously pushes disturbing thoughts or desires into the depths of the unconscious mind, effectively removing them from conscious awareness. The individual may therefore believe that these thoughts have disappeared or no longer exist. However, according to Freud, repressed desires never truly vanish. Instead, they remain active within the unconscious and seek alternative forms of expression, such as dreams, slips of the tongue, or seemingly irrational behaviors. Freud believed that dreams expressions, through which the mind releases repressed wishes that cannot be fulfilled openly in reality due to moral or social restrictions. Freud. Also, such Freudian slip occur when the ego momentarily fails to maintain complete control over unconscious material, allowing concealed truths to emerge involuntarily.